Welcome back to the channel, lads and ladies, and welcome to a test of the orbital bombardment system. So I'm trying a new method of bombing in War Thunder for close air support, and it was made possible by viewers like you. I think it was Widowmaker that well, first off, I was watching some Hunter videos, and for those of you that don't know, Hunter is a fantastic War Thunder player, and he makes gameplay videos with no frills, but thrills and spills for sure. Very talented guy, and watching how he does his close air support in the B-57, it is the B-57, right? Something like that. The B whatever it is, convinced me to change up the way that I do bomber casts. So if you have access to a bomb site, those are usually available on aircraft that are designed for level bombing. The IL-2 not being such an aircraft, but the PE-2 being such a one, or I guess the PE-2, because the little e, you know, so I wouldn't call it a PE, I'd call it a PE, or a P, or a P, but biblical. But I digress. I'm a little bit tired tonight. I know, shocking, right? But I stepped on the scale and I was 209 pounds, which is a decent amount of kilograms for you that don't live in free countries. And that's a little bit too heavy for me, so I decided to lose weight fast. So I'm just not eating for a while, which is totally healthy. Thanks for asking. But it's just, I don't really lose weight on a diet because I don't get exercise, so I don't have room in my life for that crap. So I'm just doing a non-religious fast, and the difference between a religious fast and a non-religious one is, one, you're allowed to talk about a non-religious one. If you're doing it for religious reasons, you need to keep your mouth shut about it, because otherwise you're not doing it for religious reasons. No, it's when you get fat and you're like, holy cannolis, I need to punish the floor a little bit less, so I'm just going to stop eating for a while. It doesn't really save me any time, but I hear there's energy. Usually the first day is the worst, and I'm past the 24-hour mark. But that's not what you came here to talk about now, is it? But PV-2D, fantastic bomber. Does have access to a bomb site even in Tank RB matches, and it has a rather hefty 6 1,000-pound bombs loadout, along with some HVARs that I'm just going to waste into the horizon because I don't feel like having them weigh down my aircraft. The air resistance is actually fairly significant on these HVARs at higher speeds, and this bomber is hefty enough. It's actually pretty good at higher altitudes because of its large wing surface area and its rather beefy engines. But here we go. This is a test of the new way of bombing, and you might not be as excited as I am about those results, but that was a pretty good bombing run, and that is a change from the way I was doing things. So what changed? I mentioned Black Widow, and he showed me where to look in my options menu, and no, it's not in controls, because why would it be? That would make too much sense. 0 on my tail doesn't keep up with me as long as I keep my speed, and that's the way I like it. I do happen to be flying directly toward the enemy airfield though on this rather cramped map, so we need to change up our strategy quick and in a hurry. But I'm just kind of vacillating between getting blown away by enemy airfield AA and having enough room to go heads up with a 0. So wish me luck. Nigel's favorite toothbrush, a brace of American 50 cals, comes through for us. This plane is a meme machine, and even the regular tech tree variant that does not have 50 cals is a monster at a significantly lower battle rating. But I digress. I was talking about Widowmaker and how he showed me in the options menu, on by default, as you're no doubt aware, there is a setting that automatically flies your airplane or levels it off when you're in gunner view or bomber view. And if you toggle that toggle to off, then you continue flying in the heading that you were in when you entered bomber view, instead of jerking jerkily, there we go, you see my vocabulary is on point tonight, into level flight. So what that means is when you disable the auto flying of the aircraft in bomber view, anyway, you can find the setting. It's in options though, not controls. Should be in controls, just so you know, because all the other autopilot stuff is in controls, but one autopilot option is in options instead of control. Yeah, okay, I'm over it. That tree is fake news, okay? We both saw us miss that tree. Okay, anyway, back to the settings. So now you can actually aim with the bomber sight in a rather short amount of time. So I set a new hotkey to jump straight to bomber view, as you may have noticed, and that was that. I spent a good 20-25 minutes or so in a custom battle all by my lonesome in the B-25 and the B-57, trying out the new tactic, the old orbital strike method. You can maintain your altitude while bombing, and actually manage to identify targets in third person. And then I have no idea what this guy was doing, just not evading. Maybe he knew that I could out-turn him, maybe he thought he'd be fast enough, but XP55 is a meme machine brought to you by our evil overlords at Disney. And fun fact, Disney actually sent artists to paint the noses of American bombers. So if you notice some very well drawn Disney characters or other fantastic feats of artistry on the noses of historical American bombers, you can thank individuals or the talented hands of actual Disney employees. Of course, real Disney doesn't exist anymore. It's a giant evil corporation instead of a possibly well, never mind. We won't get into the possibilities about Disney, but different times, man. Different times. Even though they worked in black and white, not so black and white. But I've completely digressed. I haven't eaten for almost 2 days now, so I'm getting a little weird, and there's supposed to be some clarity, but I'm not really experiencing that. Instead, I'm just hungry all the time and very, very tired. You know what else is tired? People coming in to these matches with their PE-8s and trying to bomb from high altitude. I'm the only person operating an orbital cannon, thank you very much. So we get a beautiful critical hit along with a fire. I'm not sure what we knocked off of him, but I think it was actually his entire tail. So yep, his tail's gone. The tail controls got blasted away. So you're gonna see one of the slowest deaths in the history of an aircraft in this game, but it's beautiful. And if you think that I'm sadistically, no, that's not him as the kill assist there, he's still dying. If you think that I'm just getting some sadistic satisfaction out of watching a PE-8 very slowly crash into the ground, then you're absolutely right. There's his big boy bomb, and it's nowhere near the battlefield, and I'm just going to count that as like 4 tanks on my team saved. You're welcome, random citizen. You're welcome. What else? I ended up having some nice matches today. Oh, right. My baby boy is probably going to be born tomorrow. So if you don't hear from me for a while, that's why. The place you'll be not hearing from me is the Toshio Thunder Discord, so link in the description below if you'd like me to check out your replay in a couple of days. I mean, fingers crossed it's going to be like 2 days before we're all back to our happy place here in the comfortable living room of my house, no longer not eating hospital food and not eating the food I have in my own fridge. And we'll have a little baby. That's pretty exciting. What else? The American 20 mils are actually working as advertised. That's not new news, but it's always good to put that out there. And the XP-55 is a beautiful aircraft, even before the penetration values for American 20 mil AP was corrected. It was billed as 33 mils a pen, but it was more like 14 or less. You couldn't even punch through the roof of the German Panzers, even when they had their Panzers down. But yeah, it was like less than 15 mils. But it's all old news now. We're rocking a universal belt for the 20s, and I think we switched to ground targets belts for the 50s, giving us around 26 mils a pen for those. So basically, you have a quad death beam of death from the nose of this airplane. It's very capable once you get a feel for it. And we're going right into another match. Now, our goal was to test out that new method of bombing in a live match, and we had immediate success, and nothing after that. So it is a little bit trickier to bomb targets from around 800 meters to 1,000 altitude, but it's a great way to take down SPAA. If you're in one of these chonky boy bombers like the B-25, it doesn't work for the PBJ, by the way, because the PBJ is an attacker and doesn't have a bombing sight, but works for the B-25s, which have been something of food for SPAA because they're so chonky and not super maneuverable. The PV-2D, as well as the, what's it called? I can't remember what the name of the regular tech tree variant is, but you can find it, and it is one of the finest bombers that America has, pound for pound, for its tier. So it's a very good aircraft, and I've memed with it a little bit in the past. I sort of discovered what a gem it is. It's at like a 2.3, 2.7 battle rating, I think. Very low battle rating for how effective it is. But I digress. The Chaffee is another fantastic vehicle. In fact, America is extremely strong at the 4.0 to 5.0 battle rating. The Chaffee, as you will see, even though we're in, I think, a 5-3 match, it's very effective. It's very effective, and in the hands of a skilled player or someone that just focuses on getting into a good position and being aware of what's going on around you, these bushes actually provide a great opportunity for that. by the way. The Chaffee can do very, very well. So what we're doing right now, and you can tell if you turn up the volume quite a bit, because I do turn down the in-game volume by about 12 decibels, is I'm listening for what's happening around me. I can hear machine gun fire, I can even hear a couple of engines, so I'm checking to see if those are friend or foe. And since I don't hear an enemy pushing up, I think it might be safe to get a very cheeky shot on the sort of flat area of the cast hull on that enemy T-34 early model. And yes, that was all skill and no luck. Thanks for asking. But seeing that he had some backup, I didn't really feel like giving myself away right away. So I reposition, I'm listening, I'm looking at the mini-map, I'm peeking at, actually surprised nobody's flanked off to the left. Usually a few people go there, they might be on the other side of the hill, who's to say. And these bushes do give us some soft cover, just enough to play cheeky-breeky for a little while longer. And I'm actually being a lot more aggressive than I need to be. I could probably pick up some targets of opportunity if I stayed back there, but getting a second kill already on top of my base cap is going to give me plenty of spawn points to hop into the PV2D. And we were just about to leave the vehicle anyway, but go ahead, Dojoy. You go harvest that kill in Stalin's baby toaster. PV2D, we're going to ditch the rockets. We're going to try to level flight bomb, but I just can't spot targets from the altitude that I'm going to be bombing from. But I'm getting a lot more comfortable with this orbital strike method of not so close air support in War Thunder, and it just feels exciting to add another trick up my sleeve even after all this time flying CAS in War Thunder. And one of the reasons that I'm maintaining my altitude here is I did notice a couple of enemies spawning into the air, and as I mentioned, the PV2D does have fairly good performance at a little bit of altitude, and if we can maintain our straight line speed, then we can give our gunners a little bit of chance to defend ourselves if the enemy fighters feel like getting frisky with my thick self. But it looks like one of them's already going for an ally, so we're gonna show you a little trick I learned. And if my aim was better, and if I was a little bit more familiar with the PV2D, we might have been able to pick up a kill here. But these two fighters are maneuvering a lot more aggressively than I can manage, even in the very maneuverable for a medium bomber on the chunkier side. PV2D, beautiful aircraft, by the way. It has the gorgeous look of a civilian bomber, and a single 20mm blows off both sides of our tail. Because why wouldn't they? Yeah, bomber damage models, lads and ladies. That's just it's just the way things are. It's a balancing thing. Gaijin knows it's not realistic, so let's not bring it up. How about them peas? How about them peas? Also, I noticed that there is definitely a straight line in the sky on the shader there for the sky textures, so that's not something I see all the time. I think it's gone already, but that happened. T-14 heavy tank, American prototype, designed for export, I suppose, to the British, sort of a cooperative effort. And like many cooperative tank design efforts, it failed and got bogged down and was useless before it could even be considered as a production vehicle. That's what happens when you try to work together with another country to design a tank. Sometimes it works out when that country is, 25 miles away because of Europe, but it doesn't generally work out so well for America and other countries. I mean, we sabotage our development efforts enough, thank you very much, via the old corruption and ineptitude. Don't forget the ineptitude. That's maybe not so much of a thing back then as it is today, but I kind of feel like that's human nature, and oh boy, are we experiencing that right now. But I digress. So, where are we? We're going to have a little bit of fun in the T-14, and it's been a while since I took out this heavy tank. Keep in mind, this is a full up tier, but we're seeing a lot of 4-3 vehicles, so there's probably only a couple of 5-0, 5-3 players in this match, and that's just fine by me. In fact, I suppose there can be at most 4 of them, so that's not too bad. The change to matchmaker made a while ago is very helpful. Along with that, it just seems like in the last few major updates, rounds don't have quite as much penetration as they claim to have, and that works out just fine for the T-14, which has some fairly good armor for a 4-3 tank. Unfortunately, cannons and armor protection start ramping up drastically within 1 BR of the T-14, which can sometimes mean that you get outclassed rather hard, and Germany's slapping a mid-sized 75mm cannon on everything, giving most of their tanks enough armor pen or more to deal with you quite nicely. And yet, in the smoke, we find a Frenchman. Something of a surprise, but okay, I guess it's Vichy time again, and our round punches through his turret to little effect twice. That's fine. Poor ballistics works both ways, I suppose. Taking down a gunner, and you can see what's going on. We're just picking on this poor guy now, and we're gonna pick up a kill assist for our effort. We're very conscious of the fact that there are enemies on the other side of the river, which is generally better than having them directly on your flank, but it means that yes, we need to pay attention to what's going on, and we take down one of Papa Stalin's favorite AA trucks, or yeah, there we go. Enemy tank destroyer already taken down before we could get him. Jagdpanzer 38T, delightful little vehicle. I'll have to take that out sometime. Not quite enough time to get the gun up for that enemy aircraft. I hear there's a pill for that, but like I said, we're fasting. And I think I've lost, how much have I lost? 5 pounds? 2 days? Okay. It's water weight, but it still feels good, man. I got plenty more fat to lose, by the way. Speaking of extra fat, the KV-1, obviously one of the best heavy tanks, again, when compared with what's available at its tier, and always a solid choice in its lineup. Gonna be a tough nut to crack, so we're just gonna peck away at this guy, and visibility is poor, as you can tell, and even worse if you're me, because I'm sitting across the room from my 1080p television set, so sifting the pixels from the fly poop on my TV it can be a little bit challenging sometimes, but it all adds to the fun, don't you know? Especially when we're getting flanked by a Panzer IV F2, the meta medium, and he's booshed up too. Look at that guy, look at that dude. Anyway, not that I'm jealous. XP 55 time. maybe let's go ahead and swap out our 50 cal rounds for something that'll actually deal damage to ground targets, and enjoy. This little thing, it's a pusher yak is what it really is. A pusher yak with, what, more than twice the amount of ammo that a yak normally gets. It's fantastic. And it's odd and wonderful and not super expensive. Just about the perfect premium to pick up if you're looking for a grinder for rank 4 and below aircraft, or just a fantastic Silver Lions printer. This ad brought to you free of charge by Toshio Thunder. I do love my golden vehicles, and this is one that I've had for years and enjoyed for hour upon hour, as my beautiful custom camouflage will no doubt note for those of you that are fans of the channel. Plenty of energy to loop over on this whatever it is Soviet plane. Their fighters all kind of look the same at lower tiers until they start getting creative, and then their jets all look the same. But yeah, he can't do anything, and we can do little when we can't see our targeting reticle. Can you make more sense out of it than me? But flying that thing, sorry, I got some acid stomach right now for obvious reasons. Sorry. Acid reflux, no bueno. But he defensive flies himself into the ground. Man, I can relate to that. I've done it plenty of times. But gosh, the XP-55 is such a good looking plane. It's just so weird and wonky and glorious. And it's got a lawnmower engine, and it cuts the grass with those 20 mils and 50 cals in the nose. Hopefully we'll get a chance to show that to you as this match winds down. It really looks like the enemy team is gonna rock us. My team has put up a really great fight. You know, kudos to those guys. They hung in there. They definitely gave a bloody nose to the enemy team, but we're just getting out biased here. I tell you, sometimes that's just the way it is. And Donnie actually showed me something. The Don, Twitch streamer, and he makes some YouTube videos as well. Love the guy. He's a great guy. Have I interviewed him yet? I keep meaning to. I can't remember. I don't think I actually have. Holy smokes! I gotta get in touch with Donnie. I've tried to interview him a couple of times, but I keep getting sidetracked. So that is something I'll have to remember to do. Remind me, would you? Because I might get a little bit distracted when my son is born. It's pretty exciting, and I might get a little bit more busy for a while after that. But we'll see if we can't get busy taking down that. I think that's a Chinese Sherman. Everybody's getting our tanks, I tell you. Oh no, we took down their typewriter instead. So that AA, always a nice thing to prioritize. I do try to take down enemy anti-aircraft platforms before anything else, and I'm not quite sure that he knew I was there, so that's always helpful. Another thing that would be helpful, Snail, please, can we get a setting to turn down the opacity of these objective markers? I really don't need to know that the C point is there. I know it's there. I see the circle on the ground. I'd much rather be able to see what's actually there. Anyway, I love you all, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Bye-bye. Oh my goodness.
This is Joey. This is you open it.
I did not know that. Hey, Guppy. Say like and subscribe.
Subscribe to the channel.